Hello. So, this is the first series of my podcast, The Next Gen Environmental Firm. And today I'm speaking with Saif Jabir, who is Regenesis York director. Regenesis, a student run nonprofit creating practical sustainability systems on campus, from free thrift store to at cost farmers markets and borrowing centers, quickly grown across multiple universities, and with that growth comes real operational challenges. We are digging into how the youth led model scales, what's working, and what needs to change for the next stage. Welcome, Safe.
Hi, Yolanda. It's lovely being here today.
Brilliant. Thank you. Safe, can you tell me how this organization started and at which stage you are right now?
Well, it started around 2007. So it was just, the boss that we have right now, Michael Joda, it was just just him and a couple of his friends on Facebook. And that's how they ended up meeting like everyone. They were just talking about nonprofit. They were talking about like environmental work, and they were really passionate about it. And over time, it ended up growing to something amazing, something that has real life impact. Around 2009, it was incorporated, and it was mainly just at York University for the majority of like since then until now. But as of recently, well, not necessarily this year, but more so in the past few years, they ended up opening up at other chapters at UTSG, UTM, and UTSC. And we're also looking to open up at other chapters. We've opened up one in America. We're trying to open one at Waterloo, U Ottawa, Carlton. We're just trying to open up everywhere because we recognize that students can definitely benefit from what it is that we provide. And yeah, in terms of what stage we're at right now, I'm not necessarily sure how to answer that, but I would say that we're just in the stage where we're trying to actually stabilize all of our like main functions within each campus while at the same time opening up to other chapters. So it consists of like me and a few others going to other chapters, talking to students there, and finding people that are passionate about what it is that we do, so they can take over and like open up the chapter over there.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for that. So, as you mentioned, Regenesis has grown quite a bit since the 2007. So, how do you maintain alignments across campuses while keeping everything students run?
The way we keep it all student run is that I'll give you an example. We ended up going to Carlton, and we ended up talking to a few. So we ended up going similar to how York has YFS. We went to the student organization there that deals with all the students and everything. And I think their name is CUSA. Yeah. So when we were there, we ended up finding out that students would be interested in this. So then we left, we came back, we ended up doing a small referendum. And once we had enough, like, votes, we ended up leaving. And then we were supposed to do another referendum, but the only issue is that there's politics around it and we weren't able to come back. But we ended up giving it to students. We found students that would love to work with the Regenesis. And from there, they are the ones that deal with running everything. Whereas we're just guiding them. We're telling them, like, oh, so you're going to run into this issue. You might run into this. This is what you can do. And from there, we're basically just holding their hand as they open it up because they are supposed to be the leaders of tomorrow. And we want to help them cross that bridge.
Well, coming, as you mentioned, the leaders of tomorrow. Can I just dig a bit deeper? So, you expanding. How do you see expansion within like 2 to 3 years?
Within 2 to 3 years, honest, ideally, if everything does work out, we should have Carlton open by then. Waterloo, potentially more activities happening within TMU. And what else? What else? Definitely U Ottawa and a few others in America. That is in the case where everything goes well. There's zero issues, but like we know, life is not perfect. There will be struggles, though. There will be difficulties along the way, but that is something that we recognize will happen. It is inevitable and it is fine because we are trained on this. And we're definitely very excited to see how Regenesis is going to go within the next few years. There's definitely some high hopes going around.
No, that's brilliant. That's great. So, when you look again at the futures, what if you could remove one structural barrier? funding, space, institutional support, which one would unlock the most progress?
Honestly, that's very hard because then a lot of what we okay, so when it comes to funds, when it comes to space, that is all based entirely on students and the desire that students have around this. So say for example a campus, students don't really want us there. We're either A, not gonna get the funding slash space, or B, we're gonna get the funding and space, but it's gonna be very, very minimal. So then it is truly just a reflection of how desired we are on campus by the students. But if I could remove one barrier, I would say it's definitely space. Space is always a bit of an issue finding the ideal space because even if you could get space on campus, it's a matter of accessibility. It's a matter of transparency, being able to like be visible to students. Because at the end of the day, if you have a space, well, it's on the ninth floor of an unknown building that no student goes to, you're not really going to be found. But yeah, I'll definitely say it's the space issue in my case.
Brilliant. Okay. Okay. I understand. Okay. Now let's move a little bit to mission and core initiatives. So Regenesis was founded to promote sustainability and students' welfare. Which of your core services, such as thrift store, farmers market, borrowing centers, best captures that mission today?
I would say honestly that's hard. It's definitely between the free thrift store and the farmers market. The reason being is because the farmers market we buy all our produce at the very least in York's case we buy from Food Share, which is also a non-profit organization, and we buy it for them and we sell it at cost, meaning we don't make any profit, we don't make any money. Most often now we're actually losing money every week, and the reason being is because whatever is not sold we give it for free to students, in the case at least where the produce is not going to last until the week after. So we'll give it for free for students, we'll give it to the vendors that work alongside us, and we'll give it to the food banks that work on our campus. So it is very, very affordable for students. Say you can buy like a banana bunch for 40 cents. And then this is an initiative that helps students with their funds. It helps students with their ability to actually eat a good meal. Rather than spending $5 going to McDonald's or any unhealthy fast food chain, you can just come buy some produce. And we are also looking to creating some workshops where we're educating students on not only how to cook, but how to make your produce stretch, how to make it go longer rather than just running out of things like very quickly. And then we have three third stars. So this is so good on so many different ways. Rather than you depending on like having to go to different stores, for example, like Zara, Urban Outfitters, whatever. Rather than you going to these stores and spending God knows what on a monthly basis or on a seasonal basis, just come to us, take free clothes. We end up switching our clothes depending on the season. As soon as it hits wintertime, we're putting up jackets, we're putting up scarves, and it's very high quality clothing. And as soon as spring comes, we're removing those clothing and we're switching out it. And yeah, then they help students out. And we've noticed it's helped predominantly, at least a huge amount of exchange students, because a lot of these students that come from outside they end up like having a difficult time, whether it's due to the fact how much money it's going to cost or just like in terms of space. They come over and then they just get to walk around, and it's a very safe space for them to do so, because we give them the ability to walk around. We don't monitor them, we just tell them take up to 3 items and they'll just enjoy it. And it's definitely a lovely experience. It's actually one of the first ways that I was introduced to Regenesis.
Excellent. No, that's good. So you mentioned we talked about the funding. So your funding model is unique. Students divide of around $8 per year plus grants, right? That's what you mentioned last time we talked. So
Yeah.
how does that shape what you can and cannot do operationally?
Now, the way it works is that we're, in terms of operations, we end up getting a certain levy. From each chapter, we have a levy. And the reason why is because while we do the referendum, we end up telling students that you will end up getting charged this much from your, like, part of your levy. You have the choice to opt out, and you have the choice, if you're not interested to see us open, you're more than welcome to not sign. But we've noticed that at least 9 out of 10 times, students want us. They want us, they're comfortable with paying because they recognize that yes, I can pay this much money, but within a month, I can make that money back. Within a week, I can make that money back just by going to the farmer's market. I'll save money rather than going to the grocery store. Just by going to the free thrift store, I can save hundreds of dollars rather than going to the actual store and getting clothes. And yeah, it's a money saver. It helps students live a more sustainable, more just, more environmental lifestyle because it teaches them reusability and recycling. But yeah, and past that, in terms of how it educates us on how we can use funds, we ask ourselves, would a student really benefit from this? Yes or no? Does a student need this? Yes or no? And in the case where they need it, in the case where they can benefit from it in terms of what we provide them, we will just do that. We will do exactly that because we're trying to make student lives easier. We're not looking to waste our money. We're not looking to waste students' times or the levy that they provide us. We're looking to just make their life much easier. And yeah, we get our money also from grants. So we will get a grant, say for example, for XYZ, and then we have to use it towards that exact function. And yeah, but we have our four initiatives currently, at least on York, is the free thrift store, the farmers market, and I haven't spoken about these other two. We also have the boring center and the bike center. Bike center, we basically teach students how to fix their own bikes. They can buy bikes, it's very affordable over there. And we just have programs all around that and workshops regarding like cycle education rather than people having to depend on cars and transportation, as it is very, you know, how can I say this? It's not really the most environmental thing. And then the mooring center, where instead of you buying typically an item you would use once a year, you can just borrow it. But yeah, sorry, I just felt like I had to mention that.
You're now expanding to the bicycle as well. That's amazing. That's really
No,
good
because
because
we've always had these initiatives, but when we come to a new chapter, we will look around and we'll find out like, hey, did they need all four? When we ended up going to Carlton this January, we ended up prior to that, we ended up going on campus. We did some research, we looked around, and we found out that they have something similar to the bike center. They already have a store, an initiative that supports students with their cycling needs, a store that is accessible, a store that educates them and does workshops. They had something that was very similar to the bike center model. So we didn't provide it. All that we ended up providing was the free third store, the affordable farmers market, and lastly, our boring center. Because at the end of the day, we're not going to provide something that's already there. We just want to make their lives easier. And if someone already took care of that part, we'll do the rest. That's the thing. There's so many different ways that you can go about it. We found that we mainly go in three different ways, at least in terms of interacting with students. We go in the case where we will table or we will just like it's face to face. You'll pass us. We'll tell you, oh hey, like yeah, would you like to hear about Regenesis? And from there, conversation starts between us. You can ask your questions. We'll tell you all about Regenesis, and if all ends well, after that, you might find yourself passionate about what it is we do, and you might even be interested in joining us or volunteering with us. Secondly, the second option that we have would be online. We'll do some research. We'll find different clubs on campus. We'll find what is that is already provided there, and we might even reach out to see if like that club or that organization would be willing to like help us out or collaborate with us. And yeah, lastly, I'll just say postering. We just poster around campus, and people from there can actually see our posters, and they can scan a QR code and they can get more details.
okay. Okay. Do you see any of these communication changing in the future?
It's kind of hard. I would say the only one I can see potentially changing is postering as we enter like more of a environment, more of like a future where we're not going to be as wasteful. It is difficult because postering is something that definitely helps us out. Everyone loves it. Everyone looks at it. It's something that is eye catching. But as we move towards the future, I can see certain like policies around like using paper or postering around campus being reduced. But yeah, but then it's depending on where we go. But yeah, because even the posters that we use, we end up reusing it.
You've added quite a few chapters in, and what part of the expansion have been the most challenging?
Student policies. I would genuinely say I think it's the first step. So imagine you're in a long corridor. It's the first step to get to the door because once you take that first step, okay, I need to talk to this campus. We need to deal with the politics. We need to talk to the student council. You talk to them. You find out there's going to be some difficulties. There's going to be some ways that you're going to have to find, not necessarily loopholes, but things that you need to go through. And if you manage that, if you manage to go through that, after that, everything's just butter. It's easy because students will want us. If we can just go past the student council, every single time students will vote us in. Students will want us to be on campus because even when we're talking to people, I'm telling them what it is that we do. Someone will just come up to me while I'm holding a pen and paper. I'm talking to them about Regenesis. I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a free third store. We're gonna have this. Before I even finish, they're like, where can I sign? I want this. I want this on campus right now. So yeah, I would definitely say it's just the first step because after that, everything just comes together.
So the education, right? What you do, what you bring to students to campus, because this is I
Exactly.
don't see any downside, to be honest.
No,
To have
100%.
yeah. No, I see that. Now, so as you expand, how do you balance the speed with the need for stable policies and physical spaces?
The way we balance it all out is that we initially, it's depending on how big of a space it is. It's depending on how successful the referendum went for us. Because the bigger the space, the more time is going to take us to expand. Because the bigger the space, the more we're going to be interested in, like, okay, not only are we going to do this, we're going to do this. We're going to expand. We're going to make it a ginormous space. Alongside ginormous space, we're going to have to bring in more students. We're going to need more volunteers. We're going to need part-time staff or placement students, like people that are doing their co-op there. There's a lot more that comes to it, but in terms of just balancing, it's a matter of being realistic. It's a matter of telling ourselves like, hey, we don't want to crash and burn. We don't want this to be unsuccessful. We want students to benefit from this, and we want this to be a permanent change for students' lives. Because there's very well possibilities that there's one student on this campus who we can change their life. We can have them save money on a weekly basis, which is inevitably going to help them save enough money to go for another year of uni, to maybe consider getting their master's, to maybe do XYZ, whatever, just by doing that. So we don't want to be delusional. We want to be realistic with how fast it is we're growing. I've I've always been a fan of the idea of the turtle will win the race.
Yeah.
He 100% he will win the race. And the rabbit, similarly. The rabbit can win the race, but the rabbit has a chance of running too fast and just falling over. With turtle, slow and steady. Take your time with it. You'll get there because when you take your time with it, we'll build the needed foundation. We'll find the community that wants us there. We'll be appreciated and loved to the point where we will not have any struggles once we get to the end. So I'm very comfortable with the idea of taking our time with it because regardless, students will appreciate us and they will find us on campus.
Brilliant. So I have a last question. What would you like to see in the future for the campus, and what message you would want to give to the future campuses that listening to you and it's considering calling you and say like we want to have you here in our campus?
Honestly, I always tell people this story. I initially started off at Regenesis. I was not I was not an environmental person, not whatsoever. My professor was telling us about placements, about co-ops, and he told us about this one organization called Regenesis. And how he was talking about it, it was like, oh, Regenesis, they're my favorite. They're really good people. I'd love to see you guys work there. So I sat there in the back of the class, in the back of my mind, thinking to myself, hey, if I join this organization, I can get an easy A plus. So I joined. But from there, I started talking to the people. I started talking to my coworkers. I started talking to the other students there. And I got back to my professor and I told him, Professor, why am I thinking like this? Why am I thinking about the environment in a different light now? And he's telling me, he's like, oh, you're just changing, you're growing. Like you actually realize how important this is. So the one thing that I want to tell people is to actually just give it a chance. Give it a chance, be environmental, give it a chance, be that change. A single person has 100% the ability to make real life changes. But you just have to take that first step. Don't be afraid of it. I think that's the best thing that I can tell people. Yeah.
No, that's great. And I really appreciate what you do with this organization. And I hope more students will hear that because it just benefit to them for everything from to. And there is no even downside of being part of it. and going to the farmers market. It's amazing. Well, thank you so much for your time. It was really
No, thank you
inspiring.
about that. I was so happy to be here today. It's a great way to start the day, you know?
Okay, brilliant. I'm happy.
Thank